The appeal to the High Court Friday came after a judge prevented for at least 2 weeks the deployment of Guard members from Illinois and Texas to assist immigration officers. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. You're an adult, right? But you should know gold has increased over 80% in the past 2 years. Yeah, 80%. So if you think stuffing money under your mattress or riding the roller coaster of Wall Street is your retirement plan, well, I wouldn't want to be banking on that strategy. It's time to diversify your savings and retirement assets into physical metals like gold and silver. That's where Advantage Gold comes in. When you call 800-741-GOLD, we'll send you a free gold kit that explains how rolling over your IRA or 401k into gold could not only supercharge your retirement, but maybe even help preserve your sanity. And let's be real, when's the last time you ever heard someone say, "Hey, sell all your gold"? Exactly. Never. The number's simple. 800-741-4653. And if you can spell, even better. That's 800-741-GOLD. Always consult with your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
The U.S. has succeeded in blocking a global fee on shipping emissions as an international meeting adjourned without any new regulations. Here's correspondent Haya Panjawi.
The world's largest maritime nations have been discussing ways to move the shipping industry away from fossil fuels. On Thursday, U.S. President Donald Trump urged countries on social media to vote against the regulations. The proposed regulations would have set a marine fuel standard and impose fees for emissions above allowable limits. Shipping emissions have grown to about 3% of the global total, increasing calls for action. Saudi Arabia called for a vote to adjourn the meeting for a year. More than half the countries agreed. I'm Haya Panjwani.
The price of gold surging amid global economic worries. The precious metal topped $4,300 an ounce for the first time today on Wall Street. The Dow was up 238 points. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bob Agnew.
News and analysis at townhall.com. The U.S.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Mostly clear and crisp tonight. A low temperature dipping down to 51. Tomorrow's a wonderful fall day. A sky filled with sunshine. A high temperature topping out at 80 degrees. For Sunday, not as nice. Clouds do roll in. We have a 30% chance for some late afternoon and evening showers. Again, the high is 80. Looking ahead, next week looks wonderful. Lots of sunshine. High temperatures in the mid-70s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Good to have you with us. It is Sports Talk Media Network on this Founders Federal Football Friday night. Phil Kornblut, along with the plumber, Josh Cohen. I'm actually coming to you from the home studio tonight. Josh is back at our studios in downtown Columbia. Chris Bergen is off tonight with the Coastal Carolina football team as he is headed up to Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State tomorrow. Of course, we're thinking about Clemson and SMU tomorrow in Death Valley, Oklahoma at South Carolina tomorrow at Williams-Brice Stadium. Your final thoughts on that? Welcome tonight. We'll have a little extra time because David Shelton is not with us tonight, a little bit under the weather. Wishing David very speedy recovery and good health. He'll not be with us tonight here or on the scoreboard show tonight at 10:05. So, got a little more time tonight with David not with us to fill in with some phone calls along with everything else that we're doing. Phone number 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. And, of course, your text messages as well. Send us a text message, Send us your picks for those two games. Of course, if you happen to hit either one on the numbers, if you get them exactly right, we'll take you out to lunch for a delicious lunch buffet at Seawell's. That text line number, 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. So a chance to get your final thoughts in tonight on the games coming up this weekend. We'll have our picks of our Sports Talk panel coming up for you in a few minutes. We'll have the football filibuster with the governor and the AG, Lee Sterling with his Sterling picks, Jeff Owens on NASCAR as we go racing at Talladega this weekend. Only 3 more races left on the schedule, including the championship race. George Bryan III with us as we talk golf beginning tonight at 7:35. So it's another very busy, very full show for you tonight here on Sports Talk. Before we get into some of the news nuggets and other things, I want to mention a couple of things. Number one, I was up in Anderson today for the Anderson Touchdown Club, and thanks to George Duckworth and the group up there for having me up there once again. Been going up to that club for, 30 years or so. And they do a fantastic job, so kudos to them for another great job. On the way back, I was listening to our affiliate out of Greenville, 104.9 FM, Fox Sports Radio, and Richard Weaver was doing his afternoon show, and he had Connor Shaw on with him. First time that I think we've heard from Connor Shaw since he had his heart episode, his health episode back in September. Of course, we saw him at the South Carolina-Kentucky football game when he was the celebrity starter for the Gamecocks. But now a chance to listen to him, and I didn't hear it all. I joined it in progress, but I thought I'd pass along just a couple of things. Number one, he says he's feeling great. Number two, he had a pacemaker implanted as part of his situation, and he did not suffer a heart attack. He suffered what's called cardiac arrest. And as they were explaining, there's a difference in the two. And he was very fortunate that people were able to immediately come to his aid and get him to a hospital. And he was very thankful for all the medical people and everybody else that took good care of him. But he says he feels great, and he plans in a couple of weeks, once he's able to, and back to full strength, to get back to his workout regimen. And he plans on continuing everything that he was doing prior to this. So certainly very good news to hear on Connor Shaw, and hopefully we'll have him on our show one night to talk about it as well. But I thought I'd pass that along to you if you didn't get a chance to hear that or hear about what he had to say. So it sounds like he's making some great progress and feeling better. Also tonight, you've got some college basketball. You got college basketball up in the upstate as Clemson and Presbyterian going to play an exhibition basketball game at Little John Coliseum. So here we go. The basketball season is starting to unwind in front of us. Regular season won't begin until first part of November, but exhibition game tonight up at Clemson. Meantime, coming out of Clemson today, the news that Athletics Director Graham Neff has been given a raise and a contract extension. The contract extension will keep Neff, who's been the Clemson AD since 21, in town until 2031. He'll receive a bump in salary from $900,000 to $1.25 million in 25-26, and that will go up to $1.75 million. The contract terms also included a $300,000 retention bonus if Neff is still employed by Clemson in July of 2026. There are yearly bonuses capped at $250,000 for metrics such as a playoff appearance, national championship in football, NCAA tournament invites for the men or the women, Final Four, basketball national championship, any non-football or basketball NCAA championship, as well as for IPTE fundraising and and academic performances for the athletic department. Okay, so good deal there for Graham Neff as he's agreed to stay on there for an extended period of time as the Clemson athletics director. Also, reporting this afternoon from On 3, the Ole Miss athletics director, Keith Carter, telling them he's working on a new contract for Lane Kiffin. He said he'd like to get something done like Indiana did with Curt Cignetti before the silly season starts. We'll see. So obviously, they're hearing the rumors about Florida, and if Florida makes a change, that they would be very interested in coming after Lane Kiffin. So they're trying to beat them to the punch and keep him there in Oxford. So, one thing we're seeing here is with the Cignetti deal, and we'll see long term if that's a good deal or not. But it's pretty obvious that colleges, ADs, are not learning their lessons by watching other schools with these huge buyouts. They're just not. I mean, they have these. They have this golden halo perception of a coach when he's winning, and they throw all kind of years at him, and all kind of buyout at him, and all kind of money at him. And the agents are using the threat of leaving to drive it all up. I get that. But then when it turns sour, and it will turn sour, it will turn sour. Does anybody believe Curt Cignetti is going to be at Indiana for 11 years? Does anybody believe that, he might be a wonderful coach, but does anybody believe that he's going to make Indiana into an annual, continual Big Ten championship threat? They're having a great year this year. He got them going last year. They're followed up with a great year this year. And is Indiana going to pay the price as a program to sustain it? When, of course, the sport at Indiana is basketball, right? I think anybody who's ever lived in the state of Indiana, which I have not, but certainly basketball is the sport in Indiana. They just don't learn lessons, and they're going to throw the same big-time dollars and extended contract offer here at Lane Kiffin with the hope that he can keep it going, with the hope that will entice him to stay put. So, you wonder why you see these stories years after the fact, like with a James Franklin, where Penn State is, of course, being skewered for having to pay him such a huge buyout after signing him to that contract. So they never learn, do they? They've got money to burn, I guess. Your money, TV money, money from the conferences. They got plenty of money to burn for sure. By the way, in basketball news today, recruiting-wise, Clemson picked up another basketball commitment this afternoon. A big guard out of Atlanta, 6'6" kid who came and visited Clemson for the LSU weekend, Harris Reynolds. He's 6'5", 6'6", from Atlanta. Now, he announced a commitment to Clemson today, giving the Tigers 2 commitments for their 2026 recruiting class in basketball. Our poll question of the week has wrapped up, and it's brought to you by Larry Lucas State Farm Insurance in Columbia and in Lexington. Make sure you call Larry at 803-799-1998 for all your insurance needs. With Lonnie Teasley out and Sean Elliott, the new OL coach at South Carolina, what will that mean for the performance of the offensive line? Ended up with 39.5% of the voters saying still the same players. In other words, they're not expecting much of a change. 32.6% say there'll be fewer pre-snap penalties. 20.9% crisper, cleaner blocking, in their opinion. 7%, the Gamecocks will be the new 7 blocks of granite. Well, we're going to find out in a hurry come tomorrow afternoon, about 12:45, when the Gamecocks take on Oklahoma, the nation's #1 defense. And they're going to have their hands full with that defensive front and those defensive ends from Oklahoma because they're really, really good. The numbers do not lie. I know they've had a couple of weak sisters on their schedule, but again, they've also played some SEC teams, and they've only allowed 4 touchdowns. They lost that game to Texas. That's right, they did lose to Texas in the Red River rivalry game. And they did not play well on offense. Their offense has not been dynamic so far this year. They've not been dynamic on offense. They're 29 points a game. Of course, a lot of places would die for 29 points a game, like USC, which averages about 24 points a game. But defensively, they only gave up one offensive touchdown to Texas. They gave up 3 field goals and 1 touchdown, and Texas had a punt return for a score. So they've given up 3 points to Illinois State. They held Michigan to 13, 3 points to Temple, 17 points to Auburn. They shut out Kent State, and Texas totaled 23. But again, only, well, take away 7, I guess. Only 16 of that goes against the defense. Their defense has been pretty much rock solid all season long. So we'll see what the Gamecock offense and this newly revised offensive line situation, see what they can do. Now, last night's injury report for South Carolina had a little bit better news regarding the offensive line. First of all, Marquis Anderson was not on the report after being questionable the night before, so it sounds like he's good. Shed Surratt moved from, he was placed as questionable this time. I don't think he was out on Wednesday. Double-check the Wednesday report here real quick. On Wednesday, he was he was doubtful. He was listed as doubtful on Wednesday, upgraded to questionable on Thursday. And the surprising piece of news was that Brian Rowe listed as out for South Carolina. Nolan Hay, Kaysen Henry, Devontae Miles. So 2 additions to the out category, Rowe and Miles. Miles, a defensive tackle. Hay and Henry we knew were going to be out. Surratt is questionable. Brandon Cisse and Gabriel Brownlow-Dendy are listed as probable. Meantime, up at Clemson, the Tigers, the Tigers, they had their first report last night. And, of course, the news was all about Cade Klubnik, who was listed on the Clemson injury report last night, right after we went off the air, as questionable. He and Tristan Lee listed as questionable, listed as out, Elijah Thurman. Now, I'm not reporting this as any sort of news, but obviously up in Anderson today, there were a lot of Clemson people there, and I was speaking to a friend of mine who's pretty tied in with some Clemson people. Anyway, just asked him what he was hearing, what he thought, and what he had been hearing from the people he talks to was that Klubnik will not play tomorrow. So I'm not throwing that out there as any kind of report. It's hearsay, okay? I'm treat it like internet hearsay. So the internet-like hearsay that I was told today up in Anderson is that they don't expect him to play. So watch him come out and start and throw for 400 yards. But that seems to be the deal with him at this particular time, which, of course, impacts everything with this Clemson-SMU game. The line has dropped to like 5.5. So it's going to be tough for Clemson if Klubnik can't play. They're going to have to really rely on the running game. SMU has not been so bad defensively against the running game. It's against the passing game where they have given up a bunch of yardage. So will Clemson, if that's the case, will Clemson still try and force the passing game and try and take advantage of what's been a weakness by SMU, or will they try and take it to the ground and not put the game in the hands of Azina, but put the game in the hands of Adam Randall and those other running backs? We'll find that out tomorrow. Smitty will be covering the Clemson game tomorrow against SMU, and I'll be covering South Carolina and Oklahoma, so be sure to follow our coverage tomorrow on our X, which is SC Sports Now, and the post game on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. All right, so let's run to the break, and when we come back, we'll give you our picks for this week from our illustrious panel competing in the Palmetto in the Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge, the Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge. And we'll update the standings, tell you who's going to do what this week. Of course, we'll have the governor and the AG with us coming up in the next half hour with the football filibuster. Lee Sterling at 7:05, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm attorney Jim Corbett. For over 35 years, I've been handling claims and cases for individuals and small businesses. I've now been a mediator for more than 10 years. Let me put that experience to work for you. Like if you're injured in a wreck or on the job or at someone else's place, anytime you should get reimbursed or compensated. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968 or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Corbett with an E, and the initial consultation is free. Jim Corbett, to settle your claims, avoid a lawsuit, or go to trial.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports, all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina. Like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper, Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News, and Mark Sturgis from ESPN Upstate. Straight Up Sports is about the stories, just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
Now, Sports Talk Picks, brought to you by Experience Columbia SC, right here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Hey, before we get to our picks, update from Little John. Presbyterian with the 15-13 lead on Clemson. 11:35. What is it with Presbyterian all of a sudden? Athletic powerhouse. Leading Clemson 15-13, 11:35 to go in the first half in an exhibition game at Little John Coliseum.
Everybody should pray.
All right,
I'm going to the PC game on Saturday tomorrow, so everybody should pray that the streak can be upheld.
Well, if they lose, they're going to single you out in the crowd, and it could get rough for you.
Yeah, I may need to wear some armor, and it's not going to be safe.
The plumber is the jinx. I can see that happening. Okay, let's meet our starting lineup for our picks tonight.
Phil Kornblut, Latta High School, home of champions.
Chris Bergen, Sports Talk co-host, Lincolnton, North Carolina.
Josh Cohen, the plumber, Play Pals Daycare.
Bobby Horton, South Carolina, best 9 years of my life.
Don Williams, Greenville High School, Greenville, South Carolina.
Fran Halloran, offensive line, Signal Mountain Junior High.
Jim Corbett, Don Bosco Prep, and the University of South Carolina.
Kevin Cohen, the landlord, Dewey Elementary, Oak Park, Michigan.
Pat Daniel, Clemson University. Go Tigers.
Rick Sanford, Northwestern High School, Rock Hill, South Carolina, University of South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina.
Matt Smith, Great Lakes University, Thornton Mellon School of Business, home to the Triple M. Go Owls.
Alan Smothers, the bad boy of sports radio, voice of Friday Night Rivals on the CW21, Florence, Myrtle Beach.
Teddy Hefner, graduate,
Columbia, South Carolina School of Hard Knocks. Football? Well, I thought I played, but then I saw some old game tape.
All right, Teddy Hefner. He leads us 21-14. That's good picking. Teddy 21-14. Kevin Cohen, Rick Sanford, Matt Smith, Jim Corbett, Fran Halloran. They're on next, 2 games back at 19-16. Had a lot of good picks last week. Did I mention Alan Smothers is also 19-16? So we got a bunch of people bunched up there at 19-16. A lot of good picking last week by the crew. I am at 18-17 along with Intimidator Don Williams. He intimidates me every time I see him. Chris Bergen is at 16-19. Bobby Harton and Pat Daniel 15-20. Way on down there in the cellar would be the plumber, where he belongs, working on those pipes. 14 up and 21 down for the plumber. All right. So I was 4-1 last week. I'm going with SMU taking the points. I'm going with Oklahoma over the Gamecocks. Gamecocks got to show me something again. I mean, I know that they have had chances in those 2 road losses. They were there in the fourth quarter. I got to give them credit for that. But I don't know. I don't like mid-season coaching changes. And this defense for Oklahoma, I think, is really for real. I mean, that's like repeating myself there. But, yeah, I think they're really for real. And I don't know that South Carolina can handle it. And I think Oklahoma will score enough points. You know, they probably won't put a huge number on the Gamecocks, like I said last night. Maybe 4 touchdowns, 28 points. But I'm taking Oklahoma, laying the 5.5. And we're playing Clemson and SMU 5.5. I'm taking Georgia because I believe in Georgia now as much as it pains me. Laying the 7.5. I'm taking Alabama because I believe in Alabama laying 8.5, and they're playing at home. And I'm going to take Miami until they disappoint me. 13.5 was a lot to eat, but I'm going to take Miami for now and take Miami to beat Louisville. All right, Plummer, what you got?
I have barely even looked at the games, but I'm going to go just down the list. I'm going to pick Clemson. I'll pick the Gamecocks. I'll pick Georgia. We'll pick Alabama and Miami. Why not?
Way to put a lot of thought into that. Very good.
We can't get any worse, right? I mean,
you're in last place.
Right. It can only go up from here.
Yeah.
Or just stay in the same spot.
All the work you've put into it to this point, all the research has done you no good. So why not wing it?
No research this week. No research.
You went 3-2 last week. You had a winning week, but then again, I think everybody did. It was that kind of a week. We'll give you the rest of our picks when we come back from the break.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Mostly clear and crisp tonight. A low temperature dipping down to 51. Tomorrow's a wonderful fall day. A sky filled with sunshine. A high temperature topping out at 80 degrees. For Sunday, not as nice. Clouds do roll in. We have a 30% chance for some late afternoon and evening showers. Again, the high is 80. Looking ahead, next week looks wonderful. Lots of sunshine. High temperatures in the mid-70s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Israel has received the coffin of a missing hostage handed over to the Red Cross from Hamas, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Friday. The Israeli military and security forces received the coffin inside the Gaza Strip, and it was to be transferred to Israel and the Ministry of Health's National Center for Forensic Medicine. The U.S. has seized survivors after a strike on a suspected drug-carrying vessel in the Caribbean, the first since President Trump began launching deadly attacks in the region this summer. That's according to a defense official and another person familiar with the matter. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 238 points, the Nasdaq rose 117, the S&P advanced 35. More details at srnnews.com.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com, or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
Hey y'all, this is Ted at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant would like to honor those that sacrifice so much for our community. We are now offering 20% discount to all law enforcement officers, first responders, active duty military, hospital workers, ministers, chaplains, rabbis, and priests will receive 20% off your meal for all those that serve. Flight Deck Restaurant wants to thank you for all that you do to keep us safe, healthy, and free. Just show your ID and enjoy a great meal for 20% off. Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
If you're feeling the weight of the world, how about visiting Spa MD in West Columbia? Marcy and her team can provide that perfect massage for individuals or even a couple. Lainey's been several times. She comes home completely revitalized. For a gift, if you're in the doghouse, or just because you love her, check out their options at visitspamd.com or call 251-9400. Leave your stress behind because you know what? You deserve this getaway. Spa MD, 251-9400.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Here on this Founders Federal Football Friday night. Great to have you with us. Phil Kornbluth from the home studio tonight. And the plumber Josh Cohen over at our studios in downtown Columbia. I'll be back in the studios later tonight for the high school football scoreboard beginning at 10:05 over many of these network stations. So be sure to tune in for that. We'll bring you all the scores. No David Shelton, unfortunately. David's under the weather tonight, so he's not with us right now during his normal segment here, and he won't be with us tonight on the scoreboard show. Hopefully everything will go well, and he'll be back with us next week. So we will do our best to have as many reports as we can get to you. Just won't have the expert analysis from David that we like to have. All right, and so don't forget that the high school scoreboard, a lot of big-time games tonight. We're right in the heart of the region schedule, sort of getting to that point where after tonight we're going to be talking about clinching region championships and clinching playoff spots and things like that. So make sure you join us tonight for the high school scoreboard at 10:05. Now back to our picks of our Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge panel, again with Teddy Hefner on top of the leaderboard at this point. So you've got my picks. You've got the Plumbers' picks. Let's give you the other ones. Chris Berg in a 3-2 week, and he likes SMU and Oklahoma and Georgia, Alabama, and Louisville. Smitty, a 4-1 week last week, and he's going with SMU. He's taking the Gamecocks. He wants Ole Miss and the points. He's taking Tennessee, and he's going with Louisville. To Dr. Rick Sanford, number 1 draft pick, number 25 on your roster, number 1 in your heart, Dr. Rick Drick. He has many names around here. A 4-1 week for Drick. And so he's going with SMU, USC, Georgia, Alabama, Miami. Pat Daniel is going to roll with SMU, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Louisville. Pat was one of, 1, 2, 3 of our panelists who had a perfect week last week. He went 5-0. So listen to him. He's red hot. He's got SMU, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Louisville. The landlord, Kev Cohen, 3-2 last week, going with Clemson, the Gamecocks, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Miami. Bobby Harton, the big kahuna, the big voice of Charleston, the owner of the airwaves. Bobby is he's really serious because he's not picking the Gamecocks again. He's gone against the Gamecocks a couple of times, if not more, this year. He's also going against Clemson. He says, give me SMU and Oklahoma. And then Georgia, Alabama, Miami. 4-1 for Bobby last week. The money coach, Fran Halloran, also 4-1 last week. He wants Clemson. He wants the Gamecocks. He wants Georgia, Tennessee, and Miami. Teddy, I'm so sexy without my shirt, Hefner. If you ever see Teddy without his shirt, you know what I'm talking about. Plummer, you ever seen Teddy Hefner without his shirt?
No, and I hope to never.
So you'll know what I'm talking about if you ever run across that. 3-2 last week. Oklahoma, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, and Miami. The bad boy of Sports Talk Radio, not just in this state, but nationwide. He's known nationwide as the bad boy. Alan Smothers, a 5-0 week last week. Give him Clemson, give him Oklahoma, give him Ole Miss, give him Tennessee, and give him Louisville. Guess you got to say it right. Louisville. Gentleman Jim Corbett, attorney for the Stars and beyond. Good week for him, 4-1 last week. He is taking SMU, and he's taking the Gamecocks, and Georgia, and Alabama, and Louisville. Finally, Big Daddy Don Williams, godfather of Sports Talk, a 5-0 week for the Donald, and he's going to roll with Clemson. He's rolling with the Gamecocks, Georgia, Alabama, and Miami. All right, there you go. Those are our picks. Read them and weep. Again, use our information at your own risk. We do not guarantee success by copying anything that we might throw out there. Still got time to take some of your text messages and your picks for the games this weekend. If you hit it on the noggin, we'll treat you to lunch at Seawells. Among the picks we have in so far, we've got Clemson over SMU 35-17, and Oklahoma over South Carolina 31-17, and Clemson over SMU 34-24, and USC over Oklahoma 20-18. And we've had USC over Oklahoma 20-17, and Clemson over SMU 34-17. We've had USC over Oklahoma 27-20. And we've had SMU over Clemson 31-27, and South Carolina over, make that Oklahoma over South Carolina 30-23. So I don't know. Well, I mean, I think I do know. I've stated what I think is going to happen. So, I mean, I'm pretty confident in how I feel about the way things are going to happen tomorrow at Williams-Brice. You have to be confident. You got to believe in your picks. If you don't believe in your picks, then you shouldn't be offering your picks out there. So, South Carolina's got to play better, and Clemson's got to have a healthy Cade Klubnik, I would say, to have a chance to win in their game against SMU. Now, you might say Clemson's defense can keep SMU's offense in check, and that's not beyond the realm of possibility. SMU comes into the game with they have 2 losses on their record. They've lost to Baylor in double overtime, 48-45, and they lost to TCU, 35-24. They're coming off wins over Syracuse, 31-18, and Stanford, 34-10. And they also beat East Texas A&M, and they beat Missouri State. So they got a couple of nobody wins on there. They beat a Syracuse team, of course, that beat Clemson. Kevin Jennings is the man that makes their offense go. He's a 72% pass completion guy. Already with 1,658 yards and 15 touchdowns, 276.3 yards per game. His top receiver is Romello Brinson, 32 catches, 484 yards, 3 touchdowns. But this is what's impressive. It's the deep strike nature, and Clemson secondary has had some problems last year, this year, on deep balls. And this is what SMU, they major in deep shots. They have their top 3 receivers, one is averaging 18 yards a catch, another is averaging 15 yards a catch, another is averaging 13.5 yards a catch. They get the ball, and their goal is to throw it down the field. I don't even think they try to hide that. And then when you're backing up for that, they hit you with the run underneath, and they have good running backs. And they have a lot of speed on offense. Chris Johnson, T.J. Harden, those are their top 2 running backs. And, of course, you throw Jennings in there, who's also an excellent runner himself. So they come at you from a couple of different angles with their attack. And so just to think the Clemson defense is going to be able to hold them down, I don't know that they can. You look at their games here. Let's see. Against Baylor, they threw for 295 yards. I'm just picking out the bigger opponents. TCU, they threw for 290. Syracuse, 294. And Stanford, 247. And again, Jennings is completing you're completing 72%. That's impressive. That's impressive. The per pass completion number, of course, is impressive. Their average per pass is almost 9 yards, and their average per catch is over 12 yards. So those are all the kind of numbers you want in a very good passing game. Clemson's secondary had better be at its best tomorrow against this offense. And remember, maybe an even better Clemson defense last year, or a defense that was playing better, had all kind of troubles with SMU last season in the ACC championship game in Charlotte, the game that Clemson won on a field goal on the last play of the game after a great kickoff return by Adam Randall that set up that field goal. And, SMU had no trouble moving the ball on Clemson in that game. So Tigers know what to expect tomorrow from SMU. And if they're playing with one hand behind their back because they don't have Klubnik at quarterback, that's why I'm thinking it could be a pretty difficult day out there for Clemson tomorrow. But stranger things have happened. I'm just saying, one man's opinion, that's what I think is possibly going to happen tomorrow in that game up at Death Valley. All right, I want to check on these other games around the state tomorrow and touch on them besides South Carolina at home to Oklahoma, Clemson at home to SMU, Coastal Carolina on the road to Appalachian State. Furman at Wofford, the South's oldest rivalry. I know Georgia and Auburn claimed that. Don't ask Hunter Reed about that, the long-time outstanding SID at Furman. He's got the record book to prove it, that Furman and Wofford played the first football game in the South, the first football game in the state of South Carolina. They play tomorrow in Spartanburg. Presbyterian, as you heard the plumber say, hopefully the plumber hasn't put the wampum on them. 6 in a row for the Blue Hose. They try to make it 7 in a row tomorrow against Stetson. That's 6 in a row this season, But I think it's 10 in a row going back to last year, right? Didn't they win their last 4? So I think it's at 10 in a row. And they've got Stetson at home tomorrow. South Carolina State is off tomorrow. Charleston Southern goes to Western Illinois tomorrow. With that strange schedule they have with that alliance that they are a part of. And they've lost 2 in a row. Newberry, red hot, winners of 3 in a row. They've only lost once, and they host Mars Hill, the Wolves. The Wolves host Mars Hill, looking to continue to hang in the race there in the South Atlantic Conference. The Citadel, winners of 2 straight, will host Western Carolina. Got to look out for that passing attack for Western Carolina. It's really good. Erskine, looking for that first win, plays at Shorter. North Greenville, winners of 2 straight, home to UNC Pembroke. Benedict, undefeated, 6-0, plays at Edward Waters. Allen is off tomorrow, and Anderson, winners of 2 in a row, will be taking on a very good Carson Newman squad. This is a good test for Bobby Lamb and Anderson tomorrow at home against a traditional power in Carson Newman at their place. Get a good idea of what this Anderson team is with that game tomorrow. All right, after the break, it'll be time for the football filibuster. We'll get the word from the governor and the attorney general. Up at Littlejohn, 134. See, we put the wampum on Presbyterian. 31-17 Clemson. The Tigers on a 21-2 run, 13-0 run over the last 7:29. They lead at 31-17. And I don't know any of these Clemson players anymore. I've got Ephraim Johnson is leading the Tigers with 9 points. And we'll be back.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosseller-Brown. Did you know Lawyer Lisa offers a prevention plan add-on to our services? If you already have a trust or just need some updates, ask about getting your ducks in a row and getting all of your wishes set out before it's needed. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
This is Perry Orth, former South Carolina quarterback. On the field, my job was simple. Read the defense, protect the ball, and give my team the best chance to win. Off the field, at Moultrie Insurance, our job is no different. Help protect your business from the risks that you don't see coming so you can focus on moving the ball forward. Just like a good quarterback, we anticipate challenges, call the right plays, and keep you protected. Trust Moultrie Insurance to cover your blind side and keep your business in the game. Visit MoultrieINS.com today.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
When South Carolina's best high school football players take the field at the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, they're backed by a powerful team of their own. As proud title sponsors, your local co-ops celebrate more than just a game. It's a tradition where talent shines, where teamwork matters, and where community spirit takes center stage. Don't miss the 78th Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, December 13th at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach, powered by your electric cooperative.
G3 here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and it's time for a fall preview. That's right, 720 Chris Drive, 378 and I-26, Frontage Road, where you can now preview the best technology for golf known to man. It's the Tsunami Bar. It's live weight, it's only technology out where you get your tempo and flow going before you play. Now, it also serves as a pattern support tool. 720 Chris Drive, Frontage Road, 378 and I-26. You also can visit the Garage Gym Pro Shop. Pick up your tools, take them home, and while you're here, tour the Scramble course, 6-hole pitch and putt right now.
And welcome back into Sports Talk, everybody, on this Founders Federal Football Friday night. Great to have you with us. Beautiful day around the state of South Carolina today. Hopefully, Sports Talk is adding a little bit more to your enjoyment of this beautiful day. And to add to that, we welcome in two of South Carolina's finest. Produced by the state of South Carolina, serving the state of South Carolina. This is what you want to grow up to be, boys and girls. The former governor of the state of South Carolina, Jim Hodges, and the current Attorney General of the state of South Carolina, Alan Wilson. Governor, welcome. How are you?
Hello, Phil, and it would not be a Good Friday without being on Sports Talk. Happy to be here with the General.
Absolutely. General, good evening. How are you, sir?
It's always great to be with you and the governor. It's not a Friday night unless you're on Sports Talk.
Well, listen, I apologize. I know we pulled you out of line at McDonald's. You were in line to get your Big Mac and your fries. We'll let you get back to that momentarily. Both of you had a good week last week, 4-1. So I think both of you are starting to find your rhythm here, General. You're starting to get into the groove. You're 19-16. The governor 16-19.
Well, I mean, like I said, every year about mid-season, that's when the governor clicks into gear and starts bringing. He's a second-half governor, and so I gotta get my game up if I'm going to stay in front of him.
Second-half governor. Okay, Governor, what do you think about that? He thinks you're a second. You bring it in the latter part of the competition.
Let me just say, I hope that the Gamecock offensive line is a second-half offensive line. That's what I'm hoping for. Isn't that right, General?
Well, let me tell you something. After last week's game, I had a brilliant idea on how we can improve our offensive line play. I thought if we just replaced our offensive line with police tape, they would provide as much coverage to Lenore Sellers as the current offensive line, but we wouldn't get any 5-yard penalties.
Ooh. Look at the General coming in with the right hook there. All right, let's get to the picks. We got some tough games. We're picking against the spread. This isn't child's play here. We're picking against the spread. No mamby-pamby, just picking scores. No, sir. It's against the spread. Makes it all the more difficult. So here we go. Governor, since you are in last place again, we'll let you lead off. We got Louisville at Miami. Miami favored by 13.5. Too much or on the number?
No, I think it's Miami. They're looking really good. I don't think Louisville can play with them tonight, and it's in Miami. So I'll take Miami.
All right, General.
I'm with the governor on this. I think Miami's going to run with it.
Miami looking good. They're thinking big. They're thinking national championship. All right, General. Let's go to Tennessee at Alabama. 8.5. Crimson Tide favored at home.
So I think I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think Alabama will win this, but I think Tennessee will keep it interesting, maybe keep it within a touchdown, but I'm going to go with Tennessee on this one.
Okay, Governor.
To keep things interesting, I'll take the other side of that. I think he's probably right about that, but we got to find a couple of differences, and this is one where Bama could win by 17 points. You just don't know. So I'll take it. I'll take Bama.
Yeah, I think I like Bama. I think they're a hot team. I think they got a hot quarterback. I'm not so sure about Tennessee's quarterback. It's at Alabama. Yeah, I think they'll cover. Ole Miss at Georgia. Governor, Georgia at home, favored by 7.5.
Ole Miss tempted me for a while, but they have only played one road game, and that was to Kentucky, who they barely beat. So I think that their Division II transfer is going to show Division II in this game in Georgia, and Georgia is going to cover.
All right, if they stay with him at quarterback, because I think the other guy's healthy and capable of playing, but we shall see. General, who you like here?
I'm with the governor. I think Georgia's going to come out and roll this thing, so I'm going to go with Georgia on this one.
Yep, I agree with the two of you. To the Oklahoma-South Carolina game, State Fair Week over at Williams-Brice. Gamecocks underdogs at home, 5.5 against the Sooners, first ever visit. By the way, the Schooner is not traveling. The Schooner does not travel with the Oklahoma football team, so you won't get a chance to see that, which is kind of disappointing. So, otherwise, General, what do you think here? Gamecocks 5.5-point underdogs.
So this is one of those heart versus head. I have two different answers, depending on if you're asking my heart or my head on this one. For me, this was a tough one because after last week, I know we just fired the offensive line coach, and can they turn it around in a week? But one thing about Carolina, they are always good to win a game they're supposed to lose. And there's always an upset game out there. And the closer we get to the end of the season, the more likely that's going to happen. So I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm going to say that USC covers.
All right, he wants USC in the points. Governor.
I'm with the general. I think my heart and my head says that, again, Oklahoma has not really played a road game of any significance. Their quarterback's a little banged up. And I think Carolina will come out firing on all cylinders tomorrow and win this game.
Ooh, straight up.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm. Listen to the boldness in his voice. The governor. That's what made him. That's what made him governor, was the boldness in his voice. And Clemson at home, favored by 5.5, but an iffy situation at quarterback. Got to kind of move a little quickly here, guys. So, Governor, who you got?
I don't think it's going to matter. Clemson.
Oh. No Klubnik, no difference, huh?
No, it doesn't make a difference. Clemson's going to win this easily.
General?
Clemson.
All right. Okay, so you only differ with one. So very quickly, Governor, anything you'd like to amend, since you are trailing, we'll give you a shot at amending. You only differ Alabama, Tennessee.
Just, again, I think we need to have two different. So I'll take Ole Miss. I'll take the other side of that at 7.5.
All right, give you Ole Miss against Georgia. And, General, you good?
I'm good. I'm going to hold.
All right. Well, your Big Mac with fries is ready. You can pick it up. So thank you. Thank you. Great talking to you. And, Governor, thank you, sir. You have a great weekend. We'll talk to you guys next week.
You too. Good luck, guys.
Good night. Good luck.
See ya. Yeah, the General told us he was in a restaurant and had to step outside. So I'm sure it was McDonald's. We'll be back. Top of the hour break.
WQXL Columbia W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. John Bolton, Donald Trump's former national security advisor, has pleaded not guilty to charges of mishandling classified information.
Inside the courtroom, Bolton did not speak except to answer basic questions from the judge. Now, this indictment has a lot of details. For one thing, it accuses him of having shared with his wife and his daughter lots of classified information in the form of diary-like notes about his time in government. It also includes a really interesting anecdote that his email account was hacked by an operative linked to the Iranian regime. It says that a representative for Bolton in 2021 told the FBI about the hack but did not reveal that his email account contained classified information.
Correspondent Eric Tucker reporting. President Trump seems to be backing away from the idea of selling long-range missiles to Ukraine for its war against Russia. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
Ukrainian President Zelensky used a White House visit to request Tomahawk missiles from the U.S., but President Trump sounded hesitant.
It's not easy for us to give. You're talking about massive numbers of very powerful weapons.
Zelensky told the president that the Gaza peace deal could carry over to the Russia-Ukraine war.
You did it, and I think this is a momentum
to finish Russia's war against Ukraine.
Before the Zelensky meeting, Donald Trump announced he would soon meet with Russia's Vladimir Putin in Hungary. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The U.S. has seized survivors after a strike on a suspected drug-carrying vessel in the Caribbean, the first since President Trump began launching deadly strikes in the region this summer. That's according to a defense official and another person familiar with the matter. It's believed to be at least the sixth strike since August. On Wall Street, the Dow by 238 points, the Nasdaq rose 117. More at townhall.com.
Maybe this is you too. People are enormously frustrated with the cost of healthcare right now. There is an option. Hundreds of thousands of people have gone with MediShare. They like it more, and they're saving a lot of money. Perfect time for you to join, too. Apply before October 31st, and they will waive your application fee. That's $100 you'll be saving right off the bat, in addition to the thousands you can save every year. Call them now. Here's the number, 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. MediShare is a community of Christians who've shared more than $9 billion in medical bills. It has worked beautifully for decades, and with so many people re-examining their options right now, seeing premiums going up and up, this is a great time to take advantage of this offer. Just tell them the promo code SHARE and save $100 before October 31st. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
More clashes involving ICE agents around Chicago.
Tensions are high throughout Chicago over the presence of ICE agents.
Even dropping them up, it's scary.
This woman, Corey, was dropping her children off at school.
What if ICE comes, and even though they're legal just because their color of their skin, what's going to happen?
Business owner Vanessa Aguiar Avalos listens for whistles.
The short whistle sound like this is just to let people know that ICE is in the area.
She says even if ICE stops what they're doing right now, the damage in Chicago is already done. I'm Ed Donahue.
The Trump administration is asking the Supreme Court to allow the deployment of National Guard troops in the Chicago area, escalating President Trump's conflict with Democratic governors. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Mostly clear and crisp tonight. A low temperature dipping down to 51. Tomorrow's a wonderful fall day. A sky filled with sunshine. A high temperature topping out at 80 degrees. For Sunday, not as nice. Clouds do roll in. We have a 30% chance for some late afternoon and evening showers. Again, the high is 80. Look ahead. Next week looks wonderful. Lots of sunshine. High temperatures in the mid-70s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make The Point Radio.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Rolling along on this Founders Federal Football Friday night here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Welcome in. If you're just catching up with us, missed a great first hour with our picks and the football filibuster and other news on the day. We've got recruiting coming up for you in a few minutes. Birdies, Bogies, and Biceps with George Bryan at the bottom of the hour. Keeping an eye on Clemson and Presbyterian exhibition basketball game over at Littlejohn, 35-19. Clemson at the break. Tigers broke away midway through the first half to build this 16-point halftime lead. Now it's time to get our professional help of the night, and we welcome in Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com with all his great insight, his thoughts on games of interest to us last week. Excellent week for Lee against the spread. He goes 2-1-1, and he's got 4 more games for us and a bonus game for you as well. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com is the location, and welcome in, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Got one eye on the game and one eye on my sheets and what we're going to talk about. Got to be honest.
That's right. But let's get to it because we don't want to keep you too long from your important game, of course.
Okay.
You got 4 games that you're going to tell us about tonight, so let's start with Duke and Georgia Tech, and it's Duke favored by 1.5 points. I don't know, you tell us, is the right team favored here?
Well, Duke was outgained by 117 yards in their win over NC State. In fact, even Cal scored 3 touchdowns in the first 3 possessions of their game. Duke's defense has had some problems. They've given up 33 to NC State, and at home they gave up 34 to Tulane and 45 to Illinois. So could spell some trouble. I just don't think they have a whole lot of talent on defense and very little depth. That could be a problem. So I'm looking at this Georgia Tech team, and I think they pose a completely different animal and some problems here to Duke's defense. We know Haynes King, more of a runner, over 440 yards running, 9 touchdowns running the ball. I mean, it's a log jam at the top. Georgia Tech is 3-0, so is Duke and Virginia, and SMU is even 2-1. Miami's only 1-0. So this is an important game here, but I think Georgia Tech just more talent, more big strike capability, and I think Georgia Tech's the right side here, 34-26.
All right, let's go to Between the Hedges, Georgia by 7 over Ole Miss.
So if Georgia would have lost last week, and it's up for debate whether that call on the goal line was the right call or not. They go down 17-0. I think they lose the game. And if Ole Miss had taken care of business, obviously we're probably looking ahead to this week instead of preparing for Washington State. This line's 2.5, 3 tops, nothing more. So you're getting a lot of value if you like Ole Miss here. I think Trinidad Chambliss is not going to be bothered by the moment. I know it's his first away start, but even if he throws an interception in the first quarter, I don't think it's going to faze him at all. When I'm watching this Georgia defense, I'm looking out, and I'm not seeing any guy. You got to know, where is this guy on every play, like we used to see in the last 3 or 4 years. So I think their defense is down a little bit. They've already lost at home to Alabama. Wrong team favored. Ole Miss straight up 27-24. Yep.
Oh, and then what kind of contract do they give Lane Kiffin on Monday?
Well, he's going to be busy trolling all weekend, so they'll maybe start talking on Monday. Yep.
All right. Well, they're talking about it already. So you like Ole Miss here. Okay, Ole Miss over Georgia. Let's go the upstate. Clemson is now down to 5.5 against SMU with the Klubnik situation. What does that mean?
Yep. I think it means they're telling you he's probably not going to play. And we know that Clemson has whipped UNC and also Boston College. Big deal. These are 2 bottom feeders here. So I think you got to exploit SMU's pass defense. I mean, they're ranked 135th out of 136 teams against the pass. And without Klubnik, I think it could be a problem here. I think they're going to find a way to win the game. I have them winning this game 23-20, but I think SMU plus the 5.5, probably the right side.
Well, you know what? I think Tiger fans will take the win. If they lose some money as a result, that's okay. They will take that win, no question about it. So you like Clemson here, laying the 5.5. And in Columbia, first time ever. In fact, first time SMU's been to Clemson, first time for Oklahoma. At South Carolina, Sooners favored by 5.5.
Yeah, and this South Carolina team, with the firing of their offensive line, might light a fire under these kids. I think they've just been missing blocks, and they know now the urgency is there. So without Lonnie Teasley, Shane Beamer had to do something here, and they had allowed 12 sacks the last 3 games. So I'm not opposed to the move here. I think John Mateer shouldn't have played last week. Maybe he's marginally better here, but I like the wake-up call. I think South Carolina pulls the upset. Yep. Again, the wrong team is favored. Gamecocks, 24-23.
Wrong. When you pick the Gamecocks, you can say "Go Cox" if that makes you happy.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Not sure there's, what if there's 7 dirty words you can't say on the radio or TV?
Let me hear you.
Okay.
Go ahead and lay it out there.
Go Cox.
There you go. All right, you got them.
Okay.
And your game of the week, folks can get, Alabama, Tennessee.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't get much bigger than this. Always the third weekend in October. How about this? First 5 callers that call 800-400-9741. Give them the game for free. 800-400-9741. First 5 callers get it on me. How about this, Phil? 4 weeks ago in the NFL, we put out 5 games on a Sunday. We went 5-0. 3 weeks ago, I did get a break on one of the games, got to be honest, but we did go 5-0 again. 2 weeks ago, 5-0, and last week I let everyone down. I only went 4-1.
Wow.
We are on a 19-1 run in the NFL. You want to hop on board? What we do is we have a special. We call it Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket. It's 5 games every single week on Sunday. How about this? Just $197. So we're on a roll here, 19-1 in the NFL. You want to give us a shot? Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket, $197, one place, ParamountSports.com.
In other words, you are on a heater.
More than a heater, a lifetime heater.
A lifetime-changing heater. Good luck to you, and that means good luck to all of us. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
You too. Take care.
Take care, buddy. All right, there you go. Lee Sterling picks. So, again, he's taking Georgia Tech, and he is taking the 1.5. He's taking Ole Miss in the 7. He's taking the Gamecocks in 5.5. And he doesn't care who's at quarterback for Clemson. He's taking the Tigers laying the 5.5. Of course, we got a couple of games in the ACC tonight. It's Miami playing right now. That's the game that Lee was referring to, that he wanted to get back to. Miami is playing Louisville. Big game, of course, in the ACC. And you got later tonight, 10:30, for the Insomniacs out there. It'll be North Carolina at the Cal Bears. Of course, Clemson, let's say Clemson wins. That gets them to 3-2 in the league. If California loses, Clemson would pass them. If Louisville loses, Clemson would pass them. And so the Tigers are thinking about upward mobility here. So a Clemson win, some of these other teams lose, Tigers would move up just a little bit more. Still a very, 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 very long shot for the Tigers to make it to the ACC championship game. But you're telling me there is a chance, and yes, I'm telling you there is still a chance. Okay, let's get to the recruiting report tonight right here on Sports Talk. And our recruiting is brought to you by our good friends over at Seawells in Columbia. Hope you got over for the daily luncheon buffet at Seawells. Had yourself a terrific meal. They'll be back with it next week. So make plans to get over to Seawells for that next week. And, of course, for the very best in the catering business, none other than Seawells. Those are the people you want to call to come and handle your catering needs. Great work at a great price. They'll work with you and your budget. Give them a call at 803-771-7385 and online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So, Clemson gets a commitment in basketball. 6'5" Harris Reynolds of Atlanta, giving the Tigers some major length in the backcourt, something that they haven't had on recent teams. Made his official visit to Clemson the weekend of the LSU football game. He also had Virginia Tech, VCU, South Florida, and St. Louis as his finalists. Football. Irmo defensive end Jaden Bryant in the 27 class went out to Texas A&M last week, said he loved it. They love him. They're coming after him hard. He's very interested in Texas A&M. And they see him as being like Cassius Howell, who's got 8 sacks on the season so far. They see him being that kind of defensive end. So really had a great trip out there. He's going to Alabama tomorrow for that game with Tennessee. He'll be back at South Carolina for the Alabama game the following week. South Carolina's still on him hard, talking to Sterling Lucas on a regular basis. At one point, he was considering South Carolina as his favorite, he said, but no longer. He's opened things up to other schools now. He's going to be at Tennessee for the Oklahoma game on November the 1st, then to Miami for the Syracuse game, then to LSU, then back to Texas A&M, and then he'll be at the Clemson-USC game. Defensive back Braylon Peebles of Raleigh committed to Furman. He's a Shrine Bowl selection. Dutch Fork defensive end Julian Walker informed us this afternoon he will visit South Carolina again tomorrow. He does remain committed to Michigan. 27 corner Hayden Stepp of Las Vegas plans to visit Clemson this weekend. And 28 running back Michael Martin of Christ Church will be at Clemson after originally planning to go to Duke. And Clemson offered 2026 linebacker Braden Raleigh of Cincinnati. There you go with the recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells. As we go to break, Louisville has just knocked in a touchdown, so Louisville has taken the early 7-0 lead on Miami. You know, leave it to Miami to do a Miami thing and choke away a home win over a team it should handle. But it's early. They're only down 7-0. All right, Talladega, the site this weekend of NASCAR. Jeff Owens coming up after the break.
Football season is upon us, and that means Columbia is welcoming fans from around the corner and across the country. No matter where you're from, Gamecocks love coming together for game day energy that can only be found in South Carolina's capital city. Book hotel rooms, find pre- and post-game activities, and plan your tailgate spread with local favorites from pimento cheese to barbecue at experiencecolumbiasc.com. We'll see you soon, and go Gamecocks!
Has your credit seen better days? At Founders Federal Credit Union, we get it. Life happens. That's why we offer personal and auto loans that help you move forward. With flexible terms and a team that sees more than just a number. You don't need perfect credit to start your next chapter. Visit foundersfcu.com or a local office today. Founders, helping you do life on your terms. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at scattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
When South Carolina's best high school football players take the field at the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, they're backed by a powerful team of their own. As proud title sponsors, your local co-ops celebrate more than just a game. It's a tradition where talent shines, where teamwork matters, and where community spirit takes center stage. Don't miss the 78th Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, December 13th at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach, powered by your electric cooperative.
Love it when it's forward, love it when it's fast, love it when the leaders call the pack is moving past, love it when they make you lots and lots of noise, can't wait to hear these W's say. Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys! Let's go racing, boys. Love it when they're drafting, love it when they slide, love it when the back's straight, the throttle's open wide, love it when they're making lots and lots of noise, can't wait to hear these W's say.
Buggity, buggity, buggity. Let's go racing, boys. We're really going racing this weekend at Talladega, or as Chris Bergen would say, Talladega. I still like Talladega. Welcome in Jeff Owens to the fast lane, the fastest lanes at Talladega. Welcome in, sir. Good to have you with us. And, Denny Hamlin got it done last week at Las Vegas. Got a little messy there towards the end, but they made the correct moves on that last pit stop, and he had a had the fastest car and just blew everybody away.
Yeah, tremendous performance by Denny, no question about it, Phil. That might have been, I don't think I'm going out on a limb here, that might have been the biggest win of his career. But given the circumstances, I know he's won 3 Daytona 500s, he's won 60 races, but to win that one, the way he won it, to come from behind like that, charging through the field, beat Kyle Larson, his own teammates, to win that race, to lock into the championship in a year when he is desperate to win his first championship, I think that was the best performance of his career, and I think that puts him in the driver's seat. I mean, he's the first one to punch his ticket to the Final Four, and I'd say right now he's the favorite. And boy, he looks like a guy who wants it as bad as anybody.
On a mission, he's on a mission. What'd they do on that last pit stop that made him so good?
Well, they took 4 tires. Some of the others, I think, only took 2, so he was sitting in a good position. I don't think they really made much of an adjustment there on, maybe something on tire pressure or something, but I just think he had better tires, and boy, that was tremendous. Those last few laps were about as good as it gets, but for him to be able to maneuver the way he did, he went high, he went low, he went, 3 wide, he was coming, and there was no stopping him, and that was a great call by his crew chief and his team. And remember, he's doing this with a first-year crew chief. They didn't have the year they wanted last year. They made a crew chief change before this season. Denny said this week that he was not thrilled with that move, that he let Joe Gibbs make the call, and he didn't know if it was going to work, but it has, and they formed a great relationship. He's made the right calls, and he's put Denny in position to win a championship.
All right, so 2 races to go before we get to the championship 4, and so Hamlin's in, so 1 of the 4 spots has been taken, so you've got 7 others still alive. Are you counting anybody out? You look at the points, you counting anybody out short of winning one of these last 2 races that, otherwise you're not going to get in?
Yeah, I think Elliott and Ryan Blaney, who had trouble last week, I think those guys are down there, I think about -20, something like that. I think they're in a pretty precarious spot. But we know, it's close at the top, and then you do have some guys there at the bottom that are in trouble. They're about double-digit points back, some of them as much as 20 back. But we know that can change in an instant at Talladega. You've got to go down there. Somebody's going to get in trouble. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 that are going to get in trouble, that are going to get swept into a wreck and get taken out. And if you're a championship contender, you're trying to win the race, but probably more importantly, you just need to survive. If you can survive this week, then you go to Martinsville in decent shape. But this race is going to be about survival, because we know there's going to be a couple of big crashes, and there's going to be a couple of championship contenders caught up in it.
So how does Hamlin and his team approach this race? What do they want to do? What's their approach?
Yeah, I got to think at this point, Denny's going down there to let it all hang out and win the race. They don't need to worry about points. They don't need to worry about crashing. I think he's probably going to be the most aggressive driver on the track, because he's got nothing to lose. He's locked in. So he's going to probably go try to win. And he may try to help his teammates. We'll see. I can't imagine Denny Hamlin pushing somebody across the finish line. I don't see that happening. But I think he'll certainly probably help Chase Briscoe and Christopher Bell get in position, and probably you'll see those 3 guys team up, I believe. And I think Denny will be more than happy to probably help those guys, try to win the race and advance as well. So, yeah, he's probably the only guy resting easy going to Talladega, because he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah. What kind of racing do you think we'll see? You think we're going to see a lot of side-by-side? You think we'll see them get strung out in single file? What do you expect?
Well, the last few years there, it's been great racing down there, but the thing that aggravates a lot of people is they start playing fuel mileage, around these stages. They'll try to save fuel in this stage so they can be back up front toward the, at the beginning of the next stage and all that stuff. And sometimes that leads to too much single file racing. So that's a big complaint that we've had at Talladega and Daytona the last few years. But that can go out the window in an instant. Like I said, there's going to be wrecks, and that's going to spice things up. And when you have a reach start, it's going to get wild. And there'll be some calm racing. There'll be some single file. There'll be some wild races too. And we know what's going to happen at the end. They're going to wad up above that at some point during this race, and you can bet there'll be 2 or 3 cautions at the end. I don't think this race ends without overtime, and probably 2 of them. So with all that's on the line, it's going to be wild, and there's going to be some guys taking each other out. So it's going to be fun.
That's where the gas mileage thing comes into play as well, like when you're talking about having to deal with extra laps and overtime and making sure you have enough fuel in your car to make it all the way to the end?
Absolutely. That can absolutely be a factor. You know, if you're playing fuel mileage throughout the game and the cautions fall the wrong way, or you've calculated wrong and you're running low on fuel to begin with, you're hoping for some cautions there at the end, but again, too many of them, a caution at the end also puts you in a bad spot. Do you have to pit? Do you take tires or not? You really don't need to worry about tires there. But yeah, there'll be some crazy things happening, and there'll be some guys taking some wild gambles on pit stops, fuel mileage, and everything they can throw at it to try to position themselves at the front of the pack at the end of this race and have a shot to win.
So we're seeing some movement now among personnel. We're seeing Justin Haley, he's out at Spire Motorsports, and we're seeing that Kyle Busch is going to have a new crew chief for next year. So we're going to start seeing a lot of this happening now, you think, over the next few weeks, heading towards the end of the season, then into the offseason?
Yeah, I think there'll be some moves. I don't expect a lot of driver moves because I think most of those are already lined up. That Spire ride will be very interesting because that's actually, that's a team Hocevar drives for. And that team's actually got some money and some resources. And it's a team that's probably on the rise, kind of like Trackhouse. It's not just a backmarker team. They can compete. And I look for a decent driver to go into that car. Maybe a Daniel Suarez who's looking right now. He's a guy that's won some races, so I think you'll see somebody land there. And then Kyle Busch getting a new crew chief, certainly that move probably needed to happen, and that'll be a big story going into the next year. Can they do anything to get him going and prevent Kyle Busch from limping around the track and going out the way he's going out, because they need to get him going.
All right, Jeff Owens, thank you very much. We recorded that interview with Jeff yesterday because he's at a concert tonight over in the Charlotte area where he lives. So that was a recorded interview. Man, we appreciate Jeff for being with us and sharing his insight as we go racing at Talladega. They had the truck race at Talladega earlier today, and a rookie, Gio Ruggiero, scores the Maiden Truck Series victory at Talladega. Didn't realize. First time the trucks have run at Talladega. Looks like he won, and he won by, about a truck length. Runner-up was right on his nose, it looks like. So Alphen Racing this weekend at Talladega. It's going to be wild, going to be crazy, it's going to be unpredictable. It's going to be something to watch. Be right back.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. Mostly clear and crisp tonight. A low temperature dipping down to 51. Tomorrow's a wonderful fall day. A sky filled with sunshine. A high temperature topping out at 80 degrees. For Sunday, not as nice. Clouds do roll in. We have a 30% chance for some late afternoon and evening showers. Again, the high is 80. Looking ahead, next week looks wonderful. Lots of sunshine. High temperatures in the mid-70s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says he has commuted the sentence of former Congressman George Santos, who's serving more than 7 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to fraud and identity theft charges. The New York Republican was sentenced in April after admitting last year to deceiving donors and stealing the identities of 11 people, including his own family members, to make donations to his campaign. Israel has received the coffin of a missing hostage handed over to the Red Cross from Hamas, according to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. The Israeli military and security forces received the coffin inside the Gaza Strip, and it was to be transferred to Israel and the Ministry of Health's National Center for Forensic Research. More details at srnnews.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
Sometimes timing is everything, and I've been talking the talk about Broker Solar for a good minute. I'm a fan. I've had some Point listeners ask me about Broker Solar. They're on the fence because of what's going on in D.C. Now that the politics have settled, we know what's in that big, beautiful bill. We know the federal tax credit for getting solar power at your home. It's going to end in December, so the clock is ticking. You want that 30% federal tax credit, believe me. So we need to get Ken out to your place before they cut it. Plus, you'll still get a 25% tax credit here in South Carolina. So yeah, timing is everything. 30% federal, 25% state credit. Are you kidding me? That's a big part of the cost already knocked out for solar power. It's time for you to take control of your own power bill. Like I said, timing's everything. Now is the time. Online, it's brokersolar.com, or just call Ken and his team, 807-7417. That's 807-7417, brokersolar.com.
Before you know it, you'll be lighting up your fireplace and enjoying the sights and crackling sounds of a beautiful fire. When's the last time you had your fireplace inspected or cleaned? Did you know the National Fire Protection Association suggests an annual inspection? That's where we come in. This is Drew with ChimSpector. Our certified team will come out, will sweep and provide a thorough inspection of your fireplace and chimney. It's safer and healthier, and we're local, fully insured, industry certified, and we care. Online at chimspector.com or give us a call at 803-878-7474. That's 803-878-7474.
I'm Ram Reddy. South Carolina's government is broken. We're the highest tax rate state in America, but we rank at the bottom in income, education, roads, and public safety. Government is rich and powerful, but we, the citizens, have been made weak and poor. That's not what our founders intended. The Palmetto Revolution will restore the 1776 vision of our founders, returning money and power to you. Will you join us?
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat & Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat & Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with the Point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We've built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertising partners at The Point. Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
4. Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee, wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found to this day. But it went straight down the middle, like they say. Whack down the fairway. It went smack down the fairway.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Time for another edition of Birdies and Bogeys and biceps. We bring all three to the table right here on Sports Talk. George Bryan brings the birdies, I bring the bogeys, and the plumber brings the biceps, huh? He's got to bring something to the table. We'll let him bring those big old biceps of his into the conversation.
We need his memory. Plumber, we need your memory.
If you know, George, I have terrible memory, so you don't want my memory, no.
Oh, hey, that's an upgrade from where I've been lately. You know, it's one of the privileges getting OLD, and that's Coach Eric, I think we were talking about. High school golf coach there up in the upstate.
Yep.
I think Coach.
T.L. Hanna.
Yep. Coach Eric. And
had a chance to meet him today. Yeah. First of all, how are you doing? How's everything out at Salina? How's everything in the golf world around you?
Well, first of all, this is the golf season. I mean, this is it in the Carolinas, the way that I have always kept track. This is the time of year I started playing golf. It fit right in because as a broke freshman in college, the only way to get on a golf course for me was to be my alias, Cal Noonan. That's Chris Noonan's big brother, and we were roommates at Carolina, so I was proficient at sneaking on golf courses, and you didn't have to work too hard to do that this time of year, even back in the day, 1979. Football season's in, so nobody's playing golf much this time of year. However, a day like today, home game, we were playing a lot of golf at Salina, and it is painted green. See, what we do there is overseed wall to wall. It is spectacular, emerald, dark green to look at, and much fun to play. I did not have it to myself today, Phil. No.
Was it busy? Was it busy out there?
Yeah, folks. It's like bees to honey when home game. There are a lot of Gamecocks that know that come into town, and hey, they like golf. It's kind of like a lot of the Tigers. When you go home game at Clemson, those golf courses are full too. And by the way, wasn't that fun talking with Coach Bird last week? And he's recruited. He not only recruits youngins pretty solid, but his coaching staff absolutely spectacular too.
Well, you talk about when I go up to Clemson for a football game, I come in the back way to get to Death Valley to the media parking area, and I drive by the Madron Center's on the left, the Walker course. The lower part of the Walker course is on the right, and you're right. This time of year, I know Clemson fans are into their football, but there's a bunch of them out there on that Walker course. Speaking of, have you ever had the chance to play the Walker course? If so, your thoughts about that course?
I have not had that privilege. I've been there on numerous occasions, and I can't remember. We got weathered out somehow. Don't know if the frost stopped us. But I've been there to play. The intentions were good, just didn't get it to work. Have you played it?
Yes. I've had the privilege of playing it as a media member. I was there when they were building it. I remember being out there with Larry Penley and the folks over there when they were starting to build that thing, and on course. But see, what was odd to me was it's a course on the Clemson campus, but it's not like a public course open to Clemson students and faculty and all that. You just can't roll over there and play. I mean, I think it's a membership thing, and I don't think you can just walk on that course and start playing. So you can go down the street to Boscobel. Have you played Boscobel right there on 76?
Yeah, that's just a lot of fun too, and I think. Oh, I could be wrong, but I think Carson Young, that's his favorite track. He's a tour player, PGA tour player, one of Wesley's friends, and I think that's where he hones his skills right there. And, there's nothing like the track he grew up on or played a lot on. Another local course here I visited this week is Limerick. And Limerick, Lenrick has rebuilt their greens. E. Rutherford went to high school, played baseball with him. Then E. Rutherford was on that team that opened up Indian River back in the day. Now at Salina, we're talking 1992. He actually started. He came into the golf business on our team, but he now leads Lenrick, and he's a GM there. He's a superintendent, but also knows the golf shop operation side. And then Billy Dillon, I was out. They rebuilt their greens over the summer, and golly, I can't believe they're this good this quick, and it looks fantastic. I was at Woodlands on Wednesday, visited Robin Waters. The golf course looks great out there, and they were hosting, it was, I forget the name of the event. I was sitting right at the scoreboard, but the golf course I didn't get a chance to play. It was packed, but I spent a good bit of time with Robin Waters, and so I've been all over. And like I said today, I was at Salina. And while I was at Lenrick, though, I ran into, I told Coach Davis, he's the Westwood boys golf coach and the girls coach. I told him I would do a shout out on his golf tournament. Got the first annual Red Hawk Golf Open Monday, November 3rd, and it's a fundraiser at Lenrick. Let me just get down to how you get in touch and who to call and contact.
Mm-hmm.
It's Coach Davis, 803-466-2467. Coach Davis, 803-466-2467. You talking about I've known him, I guess it's got to be 40 years. Might be definitely on the high side of 35, and he just loves the game. He's the boys and the girls coach. I'm trying to look at some other details. It's a shotgun start at 9 o'clock. Entry fees $300 a team, $75 individual. You call Coach Davis at 803-466-2467, and you've been all over me about how, and I appreciate your feedback that I'm not all that good on this cell phone, but I am mobile. I'm just coming off the golf course at Salina.
You're sounding fine.
Like I said, I've been at Lenrick, at Woodlands. Yesterday, Mid-Carolina Club, and talking to Scott Crouch, and we talk about Burt Cromer when he made the senior PGA championship. Yeah, and so I just spoke. I darked it last night at Mid-Carolina. There was a Irmo Chamber of Commerce golf tournament Mid-Carolina hosted, and ran into Bill Danielson, the mayor of Irmo now, and scores of other Chip Huggins, Ginger Huggins. As I mentioned, Scott Crouch. They're going to do a renovation coming up in 2026. I think they're supposed to close Mid-Carolina. And, that's a beautiful golf course right on exit 82 on I-26. You're going towards Greenville, it'll be on the left. If you're going from the opposite direction, it's on the right. And, I mean, it is a lot of fun to play, too. And
did I hear you say that they're going to be closing it for some renovation?
They are, and it's exciting because it already is really, really fun, really nice, but they have greens. I don't think anybody's ever rebuilt the greens, and I think that's at least part of the renovation project, at least part of it. And from what I understand, they're not the only club here locally that's going to renovate. There's another one, Country Club of Lexington, renovated. Recently, Columbia Country Club got renovated, and I think it opened this weekend, and don't have details, like I said, on even when Mid-Carolina is going to close, Country Club of Lexington, when that starts. Have not seen Columbia Country Club renovation, but I've heard it's fantastic. So it's that time of year, and like I said, fall is it. And then everybody likes football. Tomorrow afternoon, the game, we will have the golf course to ourselves. And no, I'm not going to the game. I've got this thing called, you just tape it and look at it at night and don't hang around people that are going to spoil it for you.
What's that thing called that you use? What do you use? You use a VCR? Are you still using a VCR?
My wife's sitting there. What do you call it? DBR? What do we call it?
Yeah.
Just record it.
Just record it.
She'll show me.
Is that Honey Bunny? Are you talking to Honey Bunny?
Yeah. Yeah, say hey.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Honey Bunny. All right, George, on to some serious stuff now. I got a few things I want to touch on for your commentary, and then we'll get into some other stuff. First of all, earlier this month, October 6th, we had the completion of the 45th SCGA Mid-Amateur Championship. They played this at the Rock Hill Country Club, and your winner was, after a strong finish, Connor Doyle of Charleston. He was crowned the champion, finished the tournament with an overall score of 8 under par, 208, and he carded 3 birdies and an eagle at the 15th. So he finished strong, a final round score of 2 under 70 to claim the title. So 8 under overall, and he finished final round 2 under 70. Andy Mitchell of Greenville, Rhett Smith of Rock Hill, they finished tied for second. They were at 4 under par. So what about, the Rock Hill Country Club? We've talked about that before. And these
Absolutely,
guys,
yep.
You know these guys?
I don't know them. The names are familiar, but I can't say that I have watched them play recently. And but I can tell you that's a great victory on I enjoy the golf course, loved it. It's a lot of fun to play. And I was talking to Randy Adams just a couple weeks ago at Salina, Brian Bros Invitational, and he really had a lot of things. He said it was in wonderful shape, and I tell you, there's something I don't understand how we got too far away from that. What I call that style of architecture, just good old greens, tees not too far away from the greens in most cases. It's fun, challenging, and you want to go play golf again. So
yeah. All right, now let's we are winding up the fall season for the collegians. Believe it or not, most of them around the state, if they haven't wrapped it up, they only have one more event left. Like South Carolina will be playing their last event of the fall beginning tomorrow, the Fallen Oak Invitational. That's going to be up in Massachusetts. They'll come back in February and go to Puerto Rico. So to this point, the Gamecocks, they have, they finished second in the Gopher Invitational. They finished fourth in the Brian Bros Collegiate. They finished fifth in the Bryson Invitational. So they've got, in their 3 tournaments, they've got top 5 finishes in all of those. So how do you feel about, what and how does that look for a fall campaign for the Gamecocks?
Oh, excellent. When we were speaking with Coach Bird last week, you remember he brought up that 500 record, and I don't know if you could hear, I've known him for a long time, and probably because I know him, I could hear the pain in his voice, and they got off to a rugged start early in the season, and it eliminated them from advancing postseason play. And quite a difference this year. We deal with the 500 rule at the NCAA Division I level. If you are under 500 and don't win your conference, out, not a chance. And at least that's what I picked up. We were both on the show last week, and like I said, these rules can change, but that's what I picked up from last week's interview. So obviously, Gamecocks are in good shape with their record. Maybe not quite as strong as the Tigers, but that's one of the things that's not really, at least it's not prevalent. You don't see win-loss records as one of the main stats that is publicized. At least what I'm trying to keep up with.
Sure.
Phil. What
All
is
right,
your
the
take
women,
on that?
Yeah, the women of South Carolina, they're playing a tournament this weekend, and they have one more next weekend. So they're playing in the Ruth's Chris Tar Heel Invitational at the Finley course in Chapel Hill. Now, I drove by that course a couple of weeks ago when I was going to the Clemson, North Carolina football game. A back road to the stadium took me by that course. It is a gorgeous. Have you ever played the Finley course in Chapel Hill?
The only time I ever played it, the first and only, I played my only college golf tournament there. I made one event. If it wasn't for Steve Liebler, I wouldn't have played in that one. But he said he told the coach he wasn't that I had to play. I qualified, had to play. I didn't play very well, but I loved that golf course. It was fun for me and like great memories. I didn't play very well. It cost the team the championship because the coach listened to Steve. Steve stood behind me, and the coach played the guy that was supposed to play. We win. But, yeah,
That's
I love
funny.
the track.
That's funny. Well, the women, the South Carolina women today was the first round. Not a great round. 7 over for them. Puts them in 7th place. They're 12 shots behind NC State. Individual best score for the Gamecocks today, Molly McClain, a 2 under par score for her. Molly McClain, 2 under par score for her. So the Gamecock women, of course, always expected to compete for SEC and national. Well, at least SEC honors in national championship competition. But let's see. I was trying to find their overall record so far this fall. See if it comes back up here. Yeah, here we go. So far this fall, besides this event, they finished 6th at the Annika. They finished 5th at the Stevens Cup. So they've had 2 tournaments so far, a 6th and a 5th. And they only play, they really play in tournaments that have elite fields, right? They really seek out the competition.
You know, Coach Kalen there, she is that. She likes to. And that's that's a theme, and I have not looked at the schedule moving forward into the early spring. But my guess is this year she'll point specifically towards that spring, that tournament season, and they will be ready. And they have been contending and favored heading into the postseason. But we got all the way till late May. So, I think they're in good shape.
Go. All right, we had Coach Bird with us last week with the Clemson men recapping their fall. They had a 2nd in the Myrtle Beach Intercollegiate. They had a 7th at the Invitational, the Honors Course. Finished 3rd at the Bryan Bros. And they won the Marquette Intercollegiate. So their last 2 outings, a 3rd and a 1st, and they've got one more event next week at the Golf Club of Georgia Collegiate put on by Georgia Tech. So they've had a good fall.
It was fun listening to the swing in the season. I think and I'm not good remembering the numbers, but it was just about the opposite. He was somewhere in the low to mid 40s and just a few losses this year at this time. And last year it was about the opposite because they had some folks out. He's still not playing he's still missing one of the best, maybe the highest ranked player that he's got on his team is out, and I'm hoping that Jackson Bird can get back in the lineup. So, we're going to have Chris Baker, who is tournament director for the Korn Ferry event that will be held here at Wood Creek Farms. And I talked to him last night. And I whiffed on a couple of invites, didn't connect, but he will be on the show in the next couple of weeks, and that'll be fun to have him on. Former PGA Tour player. We talked a little bit about it. They're going to host in the spring. We'll have those dates all pulled up, and got a 5-year commitment. Chris Baker, we think, is, as far as we could tell, the only tournament director that's ever been a PGA Tour player, and that's pretty special in my opinion, because I think that's what golf needs. I think our elite players need to be the main influencers of these events. It makes a big difference, in my opinion. So we'll get him on.
No question.
Hey Phil, I've got a hot date with my honey bunny. 39 years going towards 40. I'm going to go ahead and say thanks to the Tsunami Bar Sports as our sponsor now for quite a while. And Sea Mountain Outdoors is, I'll call it an infant company that's a child of Tsunami Bar Sports, and the specialty is artificial turf, but also anything outdoors, hardscapes. And it's a brand new company that is doing some pretty cool things to make outside pretty. The William Strength Total Strength and Speed have been building high school, college, even professional weight rooms for a lot of years. And artificial turf is naturally part of what they have done for decades. And there are a couple of outdoor artists that has joined I'll just say the construction team. And anyway, they wanted to express themselves. So as a result, David Abernathy designed a company, Sea Mountain Outdoors is the name of it. And like I said, doing pretty cool things. Most of the work's being done in upstate in Charlotte. And it's, like I said, brand new company. It constructed the scramble course, which we whiffed on what I would just call a fun outing of golf last week. We'll re-tee, put it back on the schedule. But small golf courses, chip and putts, backyard greens, to anything artificial, turf, outdoors, and hardscape, Sea Mountain Outdoors can do it. And you can just go to the website, Sea Mountain Outdoors. I don't know that I've gotten that information to you, but we talk about it. Just plug it in to Google, come up with it. Now, hey, I'm going into the movie theater. She never tells me what we're seeing. Honey Bunny, what do we watching tonight?
That movie.
Yeah, that's what she says, that movie. But it was a 7:45 start. You know how previews go. We'll give them a few minutes and swagger in a little late. But until next week, tee 'em high, shoot 'em low, and look forward to re-teeing next time at the scramble course, Phil.
You got it. Maybe next week, George. Thank you. Don't fall asleep at your age.
Right. Hey, Plumber, stay awake. Bring your memory next week.
I'll try. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, George. Great stuff. I did want to mention the Clemson women here in the fall. They won their own tournament to open the fall. Then they were a fifth-place finisher in the Cougar Classic at the College of Charleston, actually at Yeamans Hall. Seventh at the Mason Rudolph, tied for fifth at the Ron Moore Intercollegiate, and they'll be playing in a tournament over in Tennessee in a couple of weeks. The Furman women are playing in a tournament right now, the E.V. Odom Invitational, and that's in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and so is the Coastal Carolina team. Coastal is fifth at plus 22, and Furman is 10th at plus 31. Maryland leads at plus 10. Louisville is leading Miami 14-7. They're about 9 minutes to go in the first half. Upset watch there, huh? Don't forget the high school scoreboard tonight, 10:05. Look forward to being with you for that. Thank you, Plumber. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week on Sports Talk.
WQXL Columbia W264DF.
From the